Hello, gentle viewers. This is Vindian, welcoming you back to Paths of Glory. It is the beginning of summer 1915, and things are looking pretty good for the Central Powers. We've already got a victory point score of 15, and remember, if they get to 20 by the end of this turn, and they keep it the whole turn, the game is over. And the Central Powers have won. So they're not quite halfway there. Looking at the world, Turkey has a shiny new unit to play with. They could take Alexandria this turn, but would then probably get raffle stomped by Cairo and Port Said's forces. So maybe that's not such a great idea. We did our landing in Izmir. But this force takes 3 ops to activate. So it's definitely not going to be an easy fight for them. Does the MEF count as an army, or does it count as a corps? I'm pretty sure it's an army, because if it was a corps, it would have these 3 X's at the top, and this one doesn't. So it means it does fire on the better fire table, but... what else happened that was a note? Greece is sort of in the war, but not really. We have Salonika. Now has 2 British corps on it. They can move, but the Greek units I placed can't yet. Not until Greece formally enters the war. Bulgaria could have entered the war, but I decided it wasn't worth it. The Allies have the Romanian entry card, which could be pretty good. Most importantly, the Allies are at total war. The Central Powers still aren't. And the Allies are guaranteed to lose a victory point until we get some British reinforcements out. Let's look at the map. If we look at Russia, Germany finally broke through the defenses here at Grodno, which means this turn they can take Vilna, and they'll then be able to play the fall of, or the Tsar takes command card. We've been waiting for that particular event for quite a while, but now we can do it. But Russia is pushing nicely on Austria, and they're going to be able to take Cluj and maybe start making a run on Budapest in this particular turn. On the Western front here, you can see that Germany has really pushed in quite nicely. And one thing I hadn't been doing was finishing the Siege of Belfort, so I've done that now. France is posing for a counterattack if they can manage it. To push France, to at least push this Belfort army back. But in all reality, things are looking quite grim for the Allies at this point. Because if they pull any of their armies out, that just increases the chances of swinging around. Now, one thing that might be worthwhile for us is taking this army, pushing it into Metz, and start trying to wreak havoc. I'd really like to take Mulhouse. If I could accomplish that and really push on Strasbourg here, that's going to let us start wreaking havoc, and that's going to make our lives significantly easier. But for now, the Germans are very expertly threatening Paris, and they're probably going to attack it as soon as they can, because they have 15 army strength. Losing a capital isn't crippling in this game, but it does do 2 main things. First of all, you can't gain reinforcements. There's a special fancy rule for France where they can also gain them in Orléans. But second, you can't use replenishment points, which means that's going to be awfully hard for Paris to rebound from this, if we do take Paris. Which is certainly not a guarantee, but it definitely seems like the right move. At the end of the last video, I rolled for mandated offensives. We have... the Brits have to make an attack, and Austria-Hungary has to attack. But note, it doesn't have the IT bit here, so they can choose to attack anyone they want. It could be Russia. Although, in all honesty, they're probably not going to want to attack Russia. because yikes. Alright, so let's switch over to the Central Powers and let's talk about what our first move might be. So Jeb Tsar takes command. This is an incredibly powerful card. Most importantly, it lets us use 4 ops in addition to playing it as an event. And that's going to enable some other things down the road here. We have German reinforcements. I like this Polish restoration. Basically, we get 3 core, but we do give them a victory point. I'm not super keen on that at the moment, but it could be very helpful later on. We have this ticking time bomb where if they get sneaky on us, we can drop this bombshell and slow them down. We have Matahari. That's always a good card to use. We have flamethrowers. Oh, using that against Paris sounds lovely. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and play Matahari as an event. So it's going to get removed from the game once we play it. This is an other event, and I get 2 ops, so I'm going to keep this until I've taken care of my ops. So basically what this means is I now actually have knowledge of what the allies have. So let's just remind ourselves any big cards they have. Well, I know they can attack well with France. They've got a possible army, so they could step up operations in the Ottoman Empire. They can't play this card yet because the US isn't enabled yet. They could bring Romania into the war. They have some British reinforcements. They'll definitely want to use those. They have this Grand Fleet card, but they don't have the High Seas Fleet card. They have Italian reinforcements, and they have the Paris taxi cabs, which could be quite handy. None of these cards are game-breaking, but it is nice to know that they can bring Romania into the war. I don't know that they would, but it's nice to know that they can. I'm going to go ahead and delete this card from the game now, and we get 2 ops. And I see no reason not to attack Paris unless we attack Le Havre. But I think taking Paris is more important, especially because of our flamethrowers, which means we can basically guarantee a victory. And if we can wipe out this army, that's going to be just as important. Now, there is some danger to it, specifically the fact that they have a trench. That's not nothing. But I think that's the most logical thing to do, would be to go ahead and attack Paris. Right? Or am I overthinking this? No, you know what? I've got to take Vilna. Then I can drop this bombshell next turn, and it's going to be great. So I'm going to go and activate this space for movement. I'm going to move you up to Vilna. For a victory point. I now have 3 Russian VP, so Tsar takes command is now allowed. And then I think I go ahead and attack Le Havre. It's an easy... There's 2 reasons I'm going to attack Le Havre instead of Paris this turn. First of all, this unit cannot retreat. Because you can't retreat by sea. There's nowhere else for the Belgian Corps to go. Second, it's a victory point. But third, it also cuts off one more way for Britain to bring troops back into the game. They can always land at, say, Nantes or La Rochelle or Bordeaux. But they're going to likely want to go somewhere like Cherbourg. So I think that's definitely what we're going to do. Is we're going to activate only 1 army. And we're going to attack Le Havre. I'm not going to waste my flamethrowers card. I don't need it. The Allies don't have any good defense cards, so I'm rolling on a 5. He's got a core. So the With a 1, they would do 1 loss, but I do 2. So I win the battle. And it can't retreat, so it's just eliminated. And I don't take enough to be reduced, so I just move into Le Havre. I now have 17 victory points. This is very bad news from an Allied perspective. They're going to need to start making some pretty dramatic improvements to their situation. Alright. Now, one thing they could try is getting Romania into the war. However, I'm not sure that's the best play. I'm not sure of that at all. Because it's gonna basically give them 2 easier things to get to. And this Austrian courier could just waltz into Bucharest. So I have the power to control when Romania gets involved, and right now they're not going to get involved. Not until we deal with the rest of this scenario. So we need to get VP, and we need to get them fast. It's probably going to come at Russian expense. Because only Russia's in a good position to take some VP back. I mean, I guess France could too. Oh, you know what? No, I have to advance to take the VP, so that's fine. Like, France attacking Belfort is really sensible. And it reduces some pressure on us, but it doesn't eliminate it. Because basically the goal is take Belfort, take Mulhouse, and then cut off Strasbourg. But I don't know if we have the time to let a slow developing strategy like that happen. We need to pick up easy VPs, and I think that means that we work with the Russians. However, this is important. We really need British reinforcements, or we're going to lose a VP at the end of this round. And we're in such bad shape. They have 17 VP. We can't afford to surrender that VP. So we're going to play British reinforcements. We'll get to play one of those per turn. That's going to give us 5th Army, the 1st Army, and the PT Corps. What is the PT Corps, I wonder? Is that Palestine? Let me see here. It's Portuguese. Oh, there you go. I'm just going to drop the core off and the strategic redeployment box here. And 5th Army is going to spawn in London. And you're now removed from the game. Back to the Central Powers. The Tsar takes command is the obvious play here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. As, again, a regular event. It doesn't count as an ops card, not that that would matter. So we instantly improve our combined war status by 1. So we're at Boop and Boop. And then I get to conduct 4 ops, and most importantly, I've enabled this car. So the next thing we need to do is the war status plus the Russian CP have to equal 33 plus. It's going to take a while before we have that ability, but we don't even have the card. We don't even have total war yet, so it's not the end of the day. And we get 4 ops. It's almost worth it just for the 4 ops, but that you get this powerful event as well is even better. So we got 4 ops. Hitting Paris seems like an awfully attractive target. Let me make sure there's nothing else I want to do first. I could attack Kovno. It's another VP, and even more importantly, it's only 2 core. So the worst thing 2 core could do to me is inflict 1 loss. This is a German army of 3. They can't actually hurt me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attack from Vilna into Kovno. And if I get a good enough roll, I'll be able to just wipe out the fort. Which is going to be great. That's number 1. What else would I like to do this turn? I'm not really feeling the Near East right now. I don't have a lot of reason to get deeply involved in it. I can take Alexandria basically whenever I want to, unless the British move up, because I'm not gonna take on the Brits when they have a 2-1-4 and I have a 1-1-1. So we're gonna ignore the Near East. That's one op. I could just like try to like waltz into Bologna. That could be quite good. But I don't feel the urgency. I don't feel the urgency to press really hard using Austrian's forces. I do know that Romania could enter the war. So there's a certain amount of value of being ready to exploit that if and when it happens. And I don't want to make it too easy for the Russians to get free VP. So I'm going to do this. Am I? I am. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I need to leave behind a Central Powers marker on Belgrade. I have 1 to attack Kovno. And then I'm not really going to attack France or Paris with only 1 unit. Even with flamethrowers, hitting Nancy is dangerous because of the trench. It's trenches that are really holding me back. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't there, like, yeah, there's an army just sitting here that's doing nobody any good. I could see Russia trying to make a push to retake Warsaw. Let's make that harder. Or Lodz even. So let's go ahead and do 1. And we're going to do that. So we are going to make only 1 attack this turn, but I think 1 is plenty. And we're going to go ahead and just roll the dice. They have a total core value of 2. I have an army value of 5. So on a core value of 2, they do 1 damage. Nothing happens, basically. On a 5, I inflict 4 casualties, which is exactly the wrong amount. It is going to eliminate these 2 core, but it's not going to destroy the fort, which makes me a little bit sad. Which means I have to besiege the bloody thing. Lay sigh. Vilna gets a Central Powers token. Kovno gets a besieged token. And that'll conclude the Central Powers turn. So we're in a better position now in a couple of places to resist possible Allied advances. And we've also got another army ready to go in case Russia decides that Danzig isn't worth their time and that they're going to come back and hit and try to retake Lodz and Warsaw. All right. Back to the Allies. What would they like to do? I mean, it's pretty obvious that only a general assault on Austria is going to rack up the VPs. There's also this risky attack on Strasbourg, but as long as this army in Belfort is here, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense. Don't mountains offer a benefit? Yeah, they reduce offensive fire. Oh shoot, did I just make an attack in the mountains somewhere? No, I didn't. I just moved units. Okay. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, mountains and swamps both have reduced offensive fire. Things are not looking good for Team Allies, my friends. Not good at all. Remember the BR only parts of this? This basically means that Germany can't just hop across and take London, which would basically end the war. Like, getting the Italian 5th Army in Rome wouldn't be the worst idea, but it's pretty far away from the action. And any RPs we gain... Oh, hang on. In or adjacent to Paris. Paris taxi cabs wouldn't be helpful right now because I don't have a reduced strength army adjacent to Paris. So, there's one thing we could try. We could try taking Essen, which is a supply source. Like, the one thing that makes me hesitant to push hard on the Western Front right now is that there are all of these open VPs. I really need to push them out of Strasbourg. If I do, their entire flank collapses. Few things are more important than breaking this line of retreat for Germany. So, I think... No, scratch that. I know that the first thing that has to happen is we have to attack them in Belfort. Attacking Belfort and then taking Mulhouse on another turn lets me outflank Strasbourg. And it's going to be bloody, no matter what happens, and we have to be willing to take that risk. Because taking Paris doesn't matter a damn if I'm able to start carving up large parts of Germany because we've already punctured their lines. So I think that's what has to happen. So we need to find a good ops card, or a card that we wouldn't use anyway, like the USA reinforcements. I'm going to play this bad boy for ops. So let me just mark that. What is my other op going to be? Probably attacking Cluj. Although there's a lot of value actually in attacking Uzhgorod instead. I know it's not a VP, but what's more important is if I attack Cluj, even if I win, I'd have to leave one of these armies behind. Otherwise, they use this one corps, they cut off my supply, and that's that. Although I could attack with 2 and then only move one of the units. So actually, I think this will be the other attack. So that's my plan. I'm going to hit them in Cluj, and we're going to attack Belfort with these armies. Alright. I have a combat card I definitely need to play. I'm going to play my Phosgene Gas. I then give Germany a chance to play. And unfortunately, I think German's Flamethrower only applies if it's an attack. Yeah. So they don't have any combat cards they can use. we're going to resolve this fight first, because this could be the entire war right here. So we're going to roll our dice. Okay. So I get a 3, Germany gets a 4. It's also mountains, so this is actually going to be shifted to the left. So I got a 3 on... So normally I would be a total of 7. I get pushed to the 5. I get a 3. That's 3 losses. Germany gets a 4 on the 5. That's also 3 losses. No, that's 4 losses. Germany won the battle. Well, that didn't work out. These are both reduced, as is this. And worst of all, I lose this card now. I can't use it again. So that was a terrible time for that to have happened. That was some bad juju right there. The only reason it matters if defenders win the battle is it actually loses any combat cards. So, I mean, I'm still going to do it again. I have to. I have to attack them again, because if I can't cause more damage to their rear, then Paris is basically screwed. Alright, now let's come over here. I have 6. Am I attacking into mountains? I am not. They have 1. That's 3 losses on them. That's 2 losses on us. So you get flipped. You'll stay behind. You get removed and replaced with a core. Wait a minute. So I had a 2 with a 5, gives me a 3. They had a 2 with a 1. Sorry, with a 2, which is a 2. Okay. Yeah. So they'll have to retreat 1 space, which is fine. They're going to retreat here to Hermannstadt. Russia now controls Cluj, and we gain a victory point. So not an entire wasted turn. But I was hoping for a big victory here, and we didn't get it. Which is obviously unfortunate. Alright. So, we come back to the Central Powers. What would they like to do this turn? Polish Restoration gives us 3 German core, but I've already got 4 in the box. I don't feel any particular need to play this card as an event. I do want to do Ops, though. I want to do Ops quite badly. So I'm going to play Polish Restoration, 4 Ops. So we're going to go a boop. Now, I can clearly see what France is trying. I can very clearly see what France is trying. And eventually it's going to work. Like, eventually they're going to keep throwing themselves at Belfort, and eventually I'll be forced to pull back. But here's the sneaky thing I can do here. And I actually like it a lot. As a nasty tactic. Do terrain effects stack? That is the million-dollar question I must ask myself. Does terrain stack? If we have a trench in the mountains, does that become basically a nightmare scenario? Alright. Terrain. Not to confuse with Tehran. trenches. Terrain is weirdly not in the index. That's frustrating. Is it? Maybe? Yes? No? It is? Okay. That is for movement. Ah, it's under combat. No, that's not it. That just says you can't make certain kinds of attacks there. You can't make flank attacks. 12.2.8. It is cumulative. So then Germany says, great job, France. Boop. And this now becomes a nightmare scenario to retake. Because they're going to make the offensive column shift to the left. Twice. Once for the mountain, and once for the trench. Now, if they'd won that battle and I had to retreat 2 spaces, they could have just overrun Mulhouse and the trench would have just disintegrated. We're going to leave a Central Powers token here just to remind ourselves that we still have it. And that now becomes incredibly bad news for France. That one pullback has significantly reduced their vulnerability. There are some combat cards that can cause trenches to not matter. And perhaps we'll get one of those. That would be lovely. But if we don't, we'd have to be prepared to lose a lot. And I'm not sure that we're not prepared to lose a lot, but... And then I think our other two, is it time to attack Paris? Or do we try to press on Russia? What I could do is I could take a corps and the 5th Army and push them into here and think about attacking them at Tannenberg. But they have somewhere to fall back to. So I don't know if that's the best use. I think attacking Paris is better. A lot better, actually. Especially with my flamethrowers. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So the first op was just to pull back into Mulhouse. The second is going to be a 2-pronged attack on Paris. There is a trench here. That can't be ignored. But I have motherfucking flamethrowers. We're going to see what happens here. So. We each roll a 5. Germany's value is a 10, but I shift to the left because of the trench. A 5 on that is 5 losses. France is going to do their share of damage too, however. They got a 5, and their total value is... What is it? 6? 5. And a 5 on a 5 is 4 losses. So remember, it would normally be here, but it shifts over. So I win the battle, but only by 1 loss, which means they only have to retreat 1 space. But they're also going to take losses first. So I've inflicted 5 losses on them, which is going to eliminate those 2 corps. They're going to retreat to Orléans. I did inflict 4 losses on Germany, but that's only going to reduce one of their 2 armies. And the trench, most importantly, now goes away. You were the one from, we'll say, Rouen, so you stay behind. And then we put down a central power here. No, we have not actually taken Paris yet. Paris must be besieged. Now, this now becomes priority 1 for France. They don't even care about Belfort anymore. Like, who cares about Belfort? They know that they've been outflanked. They don't really care. They're going to ignore it. They need to get Paris back. Do I have any French reinforcement cards? I sure don't. That is unfortunate. Paris taxis to get the army in Orléans upgraded is nice. And I can only use it once anyway. Let's just play this card right now. So other event, Paris taxis, and it just, I get 1 free RP, and I can flip any unit adjacent to Paris. So that's probably not going to change much, but it's not the end of the world. I think our key is going to be bringing in some core. Let me check the strategic redeployment rules if your capital is taken for core. I don't think it even matters, in all honesty with you. Okay, so I cannot strategically redeploy into or out of the reserve box because the capital is being besieged. So that's not good. We definitely need to counterattack and take Paris back as soon as we can manage it. Alright. The powers of centralness now get to take their turn. They don't want to move on from Paris. They definitely don't want to do that. Now, the biggest threat to France, to Germany right now, is this British army in London. So a very slick op would actually be to go ahead and move over to Calais. Wait, is Calais? No, Calais is just... Oh, that's swamp. I don't think I've ever taken that into account for terrain purposes. Oh, well. It makes total sense, right? But yeah, I never took that into account. I should have been reducing fire. But I'm pretty sure all of those were pretty hardcore attacks. So, my mistake. I can't retcon it now. Now, without re-recording 3 episodes worth of material, which, to be frank with you, I don't want to do. So I definitely want to get the German 5th Army up to Calais, which will then force Britain to deploy, if they deploy anywhere, into Cherbourg. Oh, and because we won the battle there, we get to keep our flamethrower card. The Brits are probably going to need some reinforcements if they're going to make a proper landing in France, which they're going to have to do. Because if I take Paris at the end of this turn, that's probably the end of the game. Oh, it's not the end of the game, but it's definitely going to be really nasty. So one thing I have to do is I have to go ahead. I'm going to use Sud Army for ops. This card has such minimal utility. It's like, I'm glad that it's in the game, I suppose. And if you play it as an event, I suppose that's neat. But I'm not sold on this card's utility. Like, I guess it is like a permanent event, but still, I'm not sold on it. It's rare that Germany and Austria will even have a chance to cooperate, because they're generally too far apart in most theaters. So we're getting some more ops. It's all about the ops. Unless this is a good replenishment card. It's really not. Okay. So, Op 1 is going to be extremely simple. I'm going to send you to Calais. And Op 2, I think, is going to be even simpler. Oh. Hit France at Orléans? That wasn't even my plan. What I was going to do with my second and third ops was prepare to contest a landing at Cherbourg. But that's brilliant, actually. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put this German army where it could be instantly attacked by the French army. Like, this corps could get really sassy and be like 1-2, which would cut off supplies to Rouen and to Paris. But then it's one corps, right? That's the easiest thing in the world to kill. And I don't think France can afford to be giving up corps for no reason. So that was my first stop. I still have 2 more. I think preparing for a potential attack on Tannenberg would be a very wise use of my units here. Yeah, because not like Russia can just outflank me and just reoccupy Warsaw. So I'm going to do space 2, space 3. And then I need to grab a Central Powers token here, drop it in Warsaw as a reminder. And there we go. Notice that attacking into forest doesn't provide any defensive benefits, but it does stop your advance. So if we do attack Tannenberg next turn, and we've got flamethrowers, right? That's what happens there. So, okay. We switch back to the Allies now. I don't want to abandon Verdun. But if I lose Paris, that's very, very bad news. And I really don't want to give up Metz. But let me be blunt. We don't have a lot of flexibility right now. The Allies, the Central Powers have 16 VP. Giving them a free VP and letting them retake Metz is worth it if we can get really creative. So, what we need to do is we need to cut off their supply to Paris. Which means Amiens, basically. Because that's the only... No, we'd also have to push them out of Rouen. Although Amiens, no... I'm trying to remember, can the Central Powers supply by sea? Let me see here. Okay. No, that's fine. It surely can't be that easy to knock everything out of supply, can it? No, because they could use ports. Like, as long as they can draw back to a port, they can get supply from, say, Breslau. Aren't there meant to be 4 German supply sources? Oh, but it's a generic central power, so they could also draw to Constantinople if they needed to. I mean, taking Essen is just basically grabbing some free VPs, but that would instantly just be retaken. Alright, what's my strategy here? How do we stop this attack? I could do some strategic redeployment. I don't know that I want to, but that is a definite possibility. Like, bringing Romania into the war at this point is useless to me. And quite frankly, I'd probably use it for replenishment anyway. I need to break this siege of Paris. I don't have another choice, which probably means just pulling units back off the front lines and then attacking Paris. And Germany has the flamethrowers, which is the other thing we have to consider. That'd be 1, 2, 3. I couldn't make it all the way up to Orléans. Alright, here's my plan. My long-term plan. I need to basically cut off the supply to the besieging army. Part of this is extremely easy. I take a couple of French armies and I put them in Orléans, or in Amiens. I'd also recover some VPs. So let's do the easy part first. Sorry, first I have to decide what card I'm going to play for Ops. I'm going to play Italian Reinforcements for Ops. Because I need the Ops right now. I desperately need Ops. And I want to make my, my Romania card the last card I play. To get us some pretty major replenishment points if we can retake Paris. So, this first step is we're going to deploy the London army. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Just going to move 3 unit spaces, right? I'm going to take this army out of Metz. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And these get removed. Oh no, that's not going to work. Sedan forces me to stop my movement. Then never mind. I can't do that right now. I could, but that's not what I want. I don't want to stop my movement. I have to retake Amiens, and if that means a reduced unit from, say, Verdun, that may be what I have to do. I can get to Cambrai. I could go 1, 2, 3. But that's not good enough. Because Amiens is where they're drawing their supply from. I'm going to take this arm. I'm going to go 1, 2. Yeah, into Melun here. That was 2 ops. I'm I'm gonna take this army out of Verdun, and we're just gonna go... I can't do it with this army, but then they're just gonna attack me from Calais. And that's very bad news. That's why I didn't want to pull the army out of Verdun. You know what I'm gonna do for my last op? I'm just gonna pull this army out of Metz. Yes, they can easily retake it, but it's still... They'd have to waste an op to do it. And I'm fine with that. This gets me in a better position to do some things next turn. Alright, that was my turn as the ally. Sorry that turn took a while. Or, not turn, action round. Whatever you want to call it. Do I need to concern myself with getting some RPs? I don't think I do. I think Germany's going to be fine. I can bring in a whole other damn army and a whole other damn corps. And that's actually probably the better idea. I don't waste these flamethrowers, though. I definitely want to keep being aggressive. So I think I'm going to go ahead and play withdrawal for ops. Blah. Here we go. Oops. That's just the free op, in case you're out of cards. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to go Plock and Lomza. And... do I try a flank attack? Do I try a flank attack? I see no reason why I wouldn't. Like, the worst case scenario is they get to inflict their damage first, which will reduce my effectiveness, but I have flamethrowers. Maybe I'm overestimating that +1. Yeah, this fight is a little bit too close. This is about damaging their army more than getting them to retreat. I don't actually care if they retreat or not. Alright, so it's going to be 9v5. And I get to add a +1 because of the flamethrowers. Oh! Well, this is going to be a bloody one. Alright, so we have a new Battle of Tannenberg. It's 9 for the Germans. That comes out to a 5. That's going to be 5 losses. However, Russia gets 5 as well, and they got a 6, which is 5 losses. So, the first thing that happens is there is going to be no advance, and the Flamethrowers card is now removed from the game. Because technically no one won the battle. Now we each take our 5 losses. Germany's going to go 3, 4, 5, and Russia's going to go... and then this corps is going to get removed. So there was not the decisive victory that the real World War I Battle of Tannenberg was. But it's still an important... it still slows them down. And it definitely keeps them from moving into Danzig. I'm threatening them. If they try to attack Danzig, they can't draw supply. So they just get cut off. No, wait. If you're besieging an enemy fort, can't you draw supply from that? Yeah, you can trace supply through a besieged enemy fort. So they would be able to trace supply. But I don't think Russia can ever draw supply by sea, can they? Oh, here we go. May use only friendly controlled port spaces in Germany and Russia to trace supply. So if we cut off their ports, that's not going to be a big deal. But in any case, no one moves, so Russia's going to have to think about what to do with that on their next action. All right, we have 3 actions to try to stop Paris from falling. 2 actions. Oh dear. And I want to play Romania for RP as my last card, which does mean I have to break the siege. And I am not at all confident about my ability to do that, but we have to. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We need to cut off supply to the army in Paris. Because I do not fancy trying to just bludgeon them with that. In order to do that, two things have to happen. Let me just remind myself of something for activating spaces. Oh no, they cannot end their movement on a space with an attack marker, so I can't do that. So I'm going to go ahead and play... I'm going to take the risk that... No, I'm just going to play Udenich for ops. I want all of the ops I can possibly get right now. Alright, so that's 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. That gets removed. And that gets removed. And I'm also going to do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3. So it's still only one move because it's 2 units of the same nationality. Alright. That reduces VP by 2 because we've retaken Cambrai and Amiens. Now, taking this space does not cut them off of supply. So the next thing we have to do... Oh, I was going to strat deploy some core so that I could hit him with a bigger unit. Oh, dear. Oh, I may have made a terrible mistake. Oh, well. Okay, so that was one space. I'm going to take this army, 1, 2, 3, into Amiens. I want to make sure that Amiens is very difficult to take. I'm going to activate this space for attack. I'm going to attack with it first, and then I'm going to bring this French army over from Orléans so that we can try it again next turn, if we have to. Because if I don't break the siege of Paris by cutting off their supply, there's very little I can do. Alright, so we're going to attack with this British unit on Rouen, which, you know, hey, VP made. Also, Austria never attacked this turn, did they? Well, they're going to lose a VP then. I can't do anything about that right now. Alright, 4 to 3. It's all going to come down to the die rolls. Oh dear. Alright, 4 with a 5 is a 4 losses. 3 with a 6 is also 4 losses. However, that does get rid of this army. It doesn't have to retreat, but it does get replaced with a core. Oh wait, I inflicted 4 losses, so the core is going to come in as reduced. And then my last op, I'm going to move here and go from there. This is going to be an extremely interesting play for the Central Powers. They can quite clearly see what the Allies are attempting. They're trying to cut off supply to the force besieging Paris. And there's not a lot they could do to prevent it. They could make it harder, though. They could definitely make it harder by pulling this army out of Le Havre and into Rouen. Oh no, game. Oh no. No, that's actually not going to be the end of the world. I don't think it's worth doing it as Germany. Basically, I could move this unit to Calais, take Cambrai, and then actually cut off the supply of this army. But then they're just going to attack this next turn. I know an allied attack is coming in Rouen. And I believe only armies can entrench, right? I'm pretty sure only armies can entrench. Yeah. It's entrenched instead of moving. So I could entrench at Le Havre, for instance, but that's not necessarily helpful. And I kind of want these German reinforcements anyway. I think that would be more beneficial. Because here's what's going to happen at the end of the day. If I lose one army in Paris, but to have completely disrupted their ability to get reinforcements, that is a net win. That's a big net win for the Central Powers. And I kind of want to make sure, like, I don't care about losing a VP. I don't care about losing one VP. I'm already ahead of the game by a pretty substantial margin. Losing this unit would make me sad as a Central Powers player, but it's a worthy sacrifice because it basically means that they're not going to have a chance to spend a replenishment point card this turn. Which means all these weak units in France are going to stay weak. Which means there's nothing stopping me from doing it again. Losing an army is going to hurt. I don't dispute that. But we're going to gain an army. And I think that is probably worth it. If you are placing a reinforcement, does it go in the capital or a supply source? Let's see here. Or friendly supply source. Yeah, so I could just drop the new army in Essen. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to go ahead and say, wow, well done, allies. You broke my siege. I get the 12th Army in a corps, though. Uh, 12th Army is going to go here in Essen. And I get another corps. Alright. German turn is done. Central Powers turn. I say German turn. That's actually not accurate. I really want to say this Romania card. And I only need, in order to accomplish my goal, the only thing I need to do is beat one corps in Rouen. And I need 2 ops for that. So we're going to just do exactly that. I'm just going to go ahead and play the Grand Fleet card. No. Fuck. No, I'm going to play Romania for ops. It's such a waste. But I don't want to lose this card. I really don't want to lose this card. Unless there's special British rules for activation. Oh, it's under the ops section, isn't it? To activate space here. No, French and British count as different nationalities. Okay. Like, I don't know what the High Seas Fleet does, but it's probably bad. But maybe it's a Total War card. Yeah, I'm going to play Grand Fleet. I know, it sucks, but I have to do it. I can't afford to waste this card. It's got too many uses. And I'm going to use both ops to attack from here to Rouen. That's a 6 versus a 1. A 1 on the core table. That's 3 losses, no losses. Core is removed from the game. Not removed from the game, it's merely just defeated. The French army moves up. That's a loss of a VP. And more importantly, the army besieging Paris is now out of supply, so the siege ends. So I'm going to remove the besiege token. Because remember, they cannot draw supply to Chateau Thierry because it's friendly. It's. Let me make sure I'm not tricking here. Yeah, enemy controlled spaces do block supply. I was getting nervous for a minute there, but yeah. So, this Parisian army is going to die when we get to the attrition phase. And that was for ops. Okay. Another turn has been completed. We now go to the attrition phase. Say goodbye to the German 5th Army. Or 3rd Army, rather. It is removed from the game. The siege is lifted. Oh, there's one for either side. Neat. Okay. And you never technically got the Parisian thing here. The next thing we check, they never made their mandatory attack. Austria-Hungary was meant to attack, and it didn't. That's going to be 1 less VP. This was a very big turn for the Allies. And I know it may not seem like that, but remember, when we started, they had 16 VP. At one point, they had 17. We've really driven them back and bought ourselves time, which is what we need right now. We need that more than just about anything. And now we're even in a position to counterattack. And maybe get Germany out of France. That could be very huge for us. Could be massive. Alright. Next stage. We've completed the attrition phase. Next is the siege phase. Yes, Kovno is being besieged. We have to beat a 1. We did it. The fort is now destroyed. It can never be undestroyed. That's a VP for the Central Powers. Any other sieges happening anywhere? I don't believe so. Nope, no sieges, because the one ended, 1 attrition killed it. So they never even got to roll for a siege of Paris. Alright. That is done. Next we have war status. Nothing has changed here. Replacement phase. Allies would get to go first. They have no points. They didn't spend any. Germany has 1. And I think recreating the 4th Army would be a very wise idea. That's just 1 point, right? Yeah. I'm going to bring in the 4th Army in Essen. And the last thing we do is we draw our cards. The Allies are going to get 7 from their deck. Ooh, some pretty spicy ones here, too. Ah. Well, I can't do much with that card yet. What else do we have here? Brusilov offensive. A +1 to all Russian attacks. And I can cancel trench effects. That's pretty sexy. Some more British reinforces. Sinai Pipeline. I can then play Allenby later on. A Hurricane Barrage. British get a +1. And no one can do RP. Okay. This is a very interesting hand that we're going to have available to us. The Central Powers are going to draw 7 cards. They need to get on the Total War bandwagon. They're lagging behind quite badly, so they need to try to increase that as well. We now have our full decks. Yeah, this is actually kind of like the Battle of the Marne, almost. Although the Battle of the Marne happened, like, over here. Not over here in Rouen. But I'm still going to take it, right? It was still a very big victory that prolonged the war enough for the Allies to maybe make a comeback this turn. Turn is completed. Now we're going to roll for our mandated offensives. Italy is going to have to make an offensive. And Germany's going to have to make an offensive. Well, I mean, it's freaking Germany. Like, I'm not going to attack with Germany. Pretty much every turn. Alright. We have Place of Execution. I don't have HL. Ooh, interesting. Did I play Falkenhayn? I did. Okay. German reinforcements, severe weather, Kamal. Stavka Timidity. That's pretty nice. High Seas Fleet. Ooh, a free VP. Very nice. It seems like the game wants me to really push on Turkey or push on the Allies this turn, using the Central Power, or using Turkey. Intriguing. And maybe I will do that. This is a very nice card, but it would only matter if I were attacking an undestroyed fort. I could use it on Place of Execution. I actually have several options for this. And I do need that war status, which is my biggest issue right now. And I only have one card that gets me war status in this hand. Yeah, you should be on top. Right. Yeah, because you can trace back to friendly supply in Germany. Or maybe you can't. Was this Le Havre army out of supply? Yeah, I think this army is actually out of supply now. Because the rules say it cannot use... It can only use German ports or captured Russian ports to draw supply. So I wonder if that means the Le Havre is out of supply. Let me see here. So let me read the rule aloud to you. Supply paths through ports. Alternately, units may trace supply to a friendly controlled unbesieged port space, and then directly to a friendly supply space, or to another unbesieged port and overland to a friendly supply space. The following restrictions may apply to tracing supply through a port. The Central Powers player may only use friendly controlled port spaces in Germany and Russia to trace supply. So it seems to me this Le Havre army is actually also out of supply. Because it can't... It's in France, right? So I think this army is also removed. Which is going to push this back even farther. Which is an incredible mistake on my part. But there's nothing I can do about that. I made a goof. Which actually really makes Germany's position pretty bad, actually. Because not all that has to happen is an army just has to cut off Ostend, and then they're going to lose 5th Army too. So I think the first thing they need to do, most important thing they need to do, is they need to go ahead and regroup. Probably, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to find a card like Severe Weather, right? It is fall. That could be big, actually. I do like Stavka Timidity, but the thing is that there's no entrenched positions for Russia to even attack. So I'm going to go ahead and play Stavka Timidity for Ops. Yeah, I didn't do that right. I should have taken those all off. Yeah, losing that extra army really resets things a bit for Germany, and they're going to have to make some difficult decisions this turn. Some very difficult decisions. Alright. So, the first move is you're going to retreat 1, 2... Yeah, and then you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we've got a much more robust attacking army now, and we can do things that we couldn't do before. And that's going to conclude my turn as Germany. Oh, I never used my free RP as Germany. Yes, I did. I recreated the army. I don't want to lie to you, my gentle viewers, or lie to myself, really. All right. Brusilov offensive or land ships. I do want to play Royal Tank Corps when I get the option. And Ops would be great because we can keep pushing on Austria. And I still have the ability to bring Romania into the war. And once I've secured things, they can make a lot of damage and help us retake Belgrade and stuff like that. Yeah, Brusilov offensive would be the way to go if I didn't have... I want to save this. Oh, it's a +1 to all Russian attacks. Oh my word. Okay. Yeah, do it. I mean, this actually happened in 1916, but it did happen after the Tsar took command. Brusilov invented a strategy where... So let me take a moment to talk about this because it's very interesting. The previous way Russians would conduct most offensives would be to use artillery on a single point and then drive through it. What the Brusilov offensive did was it used artillery across the entire front, and then where Germans broke, then they would make the attack. Because otherwise, like, artillery bombardment happens for a few hours. The Germans know to rush reserves there, and the line holds. Here, artillery up and down the line, they don't know where the attack's going to come. They can't commit reserves, but the Russians can. And they can use mobile units. In this case, it wouldn't really be tanks, not at this point in the war, but that kind of thing. I only would use this card once, but if there was ever a better time to use this, it's right now. So, Brusilov offensive. It's going to be worth 2 war status, and we still want this to keep moving up. We want to be able to eventually play the Zimmerman telegram. So that's going to increase it to 21, increase this to 13. And every Russian attack gets an automatic +1. This is going to be pure Russia, because I don't feel any particular desire. I mean, I could retake, like, Calais and Sedan and stuff like that. I just don't really feel that right now, though. Right. Krakow is entrenched. But that's the only place that has a trench, unfortunately. That's just a little bit too hard for me to get to. I don't have an easy way to get there. So I'm going to activate 4 spaces for attack. Yeah, I'm going to do this slightly differently than I anticipated, but I think it's still going to work pretty well. I'm going to go Stanislaw and Lemberg to Persin, or Przemysl. I'm going to move you to attack Uzhgorod. This is a little bit dangerous, but it has to happen. And then I'm going to leave you as is, so it's only 3 spaces, actually. Like, I could attack Debrecen and I'd probably win, but then they would cut off my supply by moving into Cluj. So I can't do that unless Cluj is also being threatened. So this might be the perfect time to bring Romania into the war, possibly. I don't know. So that's 3 spaces. I get 4 with that card, right? Yeah, I get 4. I'm going to move these 2 units up into Belfort. Like, it doesn't hurt to have them there. And it's still mountains, so if I do get attacked, then that's fine. So, alright. Big Russia push. Oh, I could have done the Italian attack. I forgot to do that. Oh, well. I don't really have the forces to manage an Italian attack, if I'm honest with you, though. I just don't. Alright. Turn there is done. Perfect. Oh, let's start with this attack. It's an army and 2 corps versus 1 corps. I'm really trying to get a big enough thing to wipe out the fort. It's going to be challenging, and I don't know if we'll manage it, but we'll see what happens. They got a 4, but it's on the corps table, and they only had a 1, so that's going to do 1 damage. That just means one of these corps gets damaged. It's not the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. I get a 3, and the original army factor was, what, 5, right? Yeah. That's going to be good for 3 losses. Not great. It does wipe out the core, but it's not enough to take out the fort, which is what I was really hoping for. Oh well. You know what? You win some, you lose some, and the important thing is that fort is now besieged. And I'm going to go ahead and tell this core to stay back. I think... No, I'm going to bring the core up. In case Austria gets sassy and wants to counterattack, and I'm just getting a besieged token here. There we go. Interesting times. Then we're going to hit Uzhgorod. Now, this is going to be challenging, because we are going to shift 1 to the left. We still get our +1 die roll. They did 1-on-1. That's not going to do any damage. I got 1. It would have been on the 2. It shifts over to the 1, but it's actually a 2. So that is actually a 1, which is enough to eliminate the core. And I didn't take any damage, which is what mattered the most. I'm going to drop a couple of allied tokens there. 1 here. 1 here. And then next turn we'll have some other things that we can do here. Wait, is it this turn or this action round? Womp womp. That's fine. Oh, let's go ahead and remove that card from the game. It was incredibly useful. And that was an other event. So things are looking pretty rough for Austria. But I don't really have great cards to make that happen. I really kind of want to attack a German or a French fort. How would I want to manage that? 1, no, that's forest. So I could go 1, 2, 3 to Metz, and then we could attack Nancy next turn. I think that's the best choice. So let's get some ops. Oh, I could have played severe weather. I didn't think of that. Oh well. I'll just play it for ops. No, it's a +2. That could be huge. I'm probably not going to be playing any Turkish cards this turn. And I want to play this card as an event, so I can get a free VP. Maybe. Although I know the Grand Fleet card was already played, I have a tiny deck. I know I'm going to get another chance to do this. I think I'd rather play that for something else. I'm going to play Lyman von Sanders for ops. I'm going to activate this space, and we're all going to go to Metz. That gets removed. And the Allies lose a VP, which means Germany gains 1. Any other units I'd like to move? Not really. Oh, I could... No, I can only activate 1 more space. I think I definitely want to get you involved. Taking Riga would be quite nice, if I'm honest with you. That's another Russian CP. It is an army versus 2 corps. If Insterburg wasn't a forest, I could cut off the Russian supply. Wait, unless Russia can't use ports in Germany. But I'm pretty sure they can. The allied player can use any friendly control port not in Germany or Russia to trace supply. Let me double check. Russia. Yeah, Russian can't use sea supply to trace to those supply sources. So then actually I can get really nasty. I can just go waboop. These armies are not out of supply because they cannot use Königsberg as a supply source. So you are now out of supply, and I need a Central Powers token to go right here. Perfection. The supply rules are complicated, but once you understand them, I think you'll find as a player that this game becomes a lot more interesting. Because you can't control battles, but you can control who is or isn't out of supply. Right. To the Allies. I'm going to go ahead and play land ships now. It is an event. And it's going to give me ops. And I need the land ships token. It should be under Allies, Total War. Oh, here it is. I'm just going to put this over here to remind me that that's a thing that I can do. And I get 4 ops. Which is great, because the one thing France doesn't want to happen right now is for them to just waltz into Verdun without a fight. So I'm going to pull all of these armies into Verdun. That was just one op. Op number 2. This is actually tricky. I'm starting to run out of steam here, so I think I need to bring up some reinforcements. Let's activate this space here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Let's get these armies into the fight, and then we can really pressure Austria. Is that where I wanted to go? Did I want to go 1, 2, 3, or do I want to go 1, 2, 3? No, it's fine. That's 2. I wanted to bring Romania into the war this turn. That's fine. I can still do it later on. I can't really rescue these units. I've kind of ignored that part. Oops. I don't want you to get too comfortable with you attacking this space and moving into Riga, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I still have 1 more op to spend. Italy, maybe? One army against 3 corps in a trench seems pretty bad. I guess we'll bring up another army. Like, I'm still finding it very difficult to attack this space because of the trench. And it's mountain. Oh god, it's mountain too, isn't it? Yeah, that's very bad news. This core is just kind of hanging out, right? Let's bring you over. 1, 2. I'm gonna put you in Verona. Alright. That's my 4 ops. Over to Germany. Or Central Powers, rather. Now, they've got 2 choices here. They could attack Verdun, or they could attack Nancy. And I think Nancy is the more attractive target because I can hit it with 4 armies. With plus my +2, I should feel pretty confident about my victory there. So I'm going to go ahead and play. I'm going to play Turk Determination. I just don't see the Allies caring too much about Turkey these days. Maybe another time, but not right now. I get to activate 3 spaces, so I'm going to activate these 2 to attack Nancy. And then I get 1 more space. Oh, that gets removed. I'm going to pull these 2 corps. Up to Grodno. With the view of eventually pulling them into Kovno and eventually hitting them. So, I'm going to go ahead and play Place of Execution. I get a +2 for it. Most people, I get the war status. Okay, 22 and 3 is still not enough. It has to be 33 or more. Do the Allies have any combat cards they would like to play? I don't think they have any good defensive cards. I'll probably want to play that eventually. But yeah, they don't have any combat cards, so we then switch over. So, my total strength, I'm attacking with 4. I'm not going to do a flank attack. I'd probably fail. Is going to be 15, 18. It does shift 1 to the left. Yeah. So basically it just shifts over to the 15 space, but I get to add a 2. And France is going to add what? 5. Alright. Oh dear. Alright, so France gets 3 losses. They inflict 3 losses on Germany. Oh, that's fine. I wasn't going to move the Strasbourg army anyway. 15 with a 6 is 7 losses. So we've got 3. And one of these armies is getting removed. We'll just pick that one randomly. And a French corps that comes in is actually also reduced. They're going to retreat. They retreat up to 2 spaces. They're going to go 1, 2... 1, 2. The fort goes away, or the trench goes away, rather. This is now besieged. and we don't get a victory point yet. Now, this does open up an opportunity for France to attack Germany. That is undeniable. They could retake Metz. But if they did that, I would just cut off their supply. So they're not going to be that stupid. Because the only source that would supply Metz that would be friendly would be Verdun. Oh, but Verdun's a fort. Maybe that would make sense. But probably not. Probably not. Okay. That was the Central Powers' turn. Bring in Romania now. I think maybe we do. I think bringing in Romania now would be very smart. The other alternative would be to go ahead and move up these armies so they could get into a range where they could actually do something. But nah, I don't really feel the need to do that. Let's go ahead and bring Romania in. On play is a non-event when CP or total war. Well, they're not, so... Alright, so we delete this. And where do Romanian forces go? I know they're not very good, but this is just about giving more flexibility. Give me the setup. You unbelievable jerk of Emmanuel. Here we go. 2 core in Bucharest, and I can put 4 others anywhere else in Romania. I definitely want them in Targu, Carte d'Arges, Ploesti, and Bariad. There we go. Romania is now in the war. That counts as a neutral event. Only one person can ever play that a turn. And the card gets removed from the game. Boop. All right. Back to the Central Powers. I know the cards are telling them they should really push Turkey, but they've got better things to do with their time. All right. One of the things we're facing now as the Central Powers is an increasingly crowded spot here. We need some RPs, and I want to get this out of the way now. So I'm going to play High Seas Fleet for RPs. Boop. So that's going to be 2 Austro-Hungarian. It will be 1 for Bulgaria, but Bulgaria's not in the war yet. 3 for Germany and 1 for Turkey, giving a total of 4 for Germany. And then 1 for Turkey. All right, what are the Allies going to do now? I have a bonus to attacking as Britain, but I kind of don't feel that, like doing that. That seems like a pretty stupid idea. To meet the Italian advance, don't I have to only, like, enter an enemy space? No, I have to attack a unit, even if I lose. The Italian army is kind of trash, my dudes. I mean, I guess attacking Udine wouldn't be the worst idea. If anything that can boost my successes here, not really. Oh, you know what actually would be even better? A British reinforcements. Do it. And that's going to be 4th Army and 1 Corps. And I definitely want to make sure we get RPs this turn with the Brits. Or with the Allies, rather. Okay, Corps comes over here. 4th Army is placed in London. I think we get German reinforcements. I am more than content to just stay where I am right now. I don't feel any particular crushing need to attack again. I want to build up my strength as Germany and really hammer them next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and play German reinforcements. This is for what? 11th Army and 1 Corps. There it is. 11th Army is going to get dropped off in Essen. This Corps is going to come to the box. All right. Back to these guys. Oh, does my flamethrowers card still out here? Oh, no, this just gets removed from the game. I mean, I technically get to keep it. But, and I'm not going to attack again. I'm just going to get rid of it now so I don't forget about it. I can't play Influenza. I can't play over there. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's been injured quite badly. And I think we need to make a really hardcore replenishment turn. This is 3 Russia, 2 French, 2 Brit. 3 Russia, 2 French, 2 Brit. I'll probably pull this card as the last card. 4 Russia, 2 Italy, 3 French, 3 Brit. Yeah, this is perfect. So I'm not going to be able to play this card for a while yet. And I should have a chance to let the deck reshuffle by then. So that's 4 Russian. Oh, you know what? Here, I'm going to bring the card over here so that I can just look at it, and then I'll just put it back when it's done. 2 Italian. 3 French. 3 British, that's very important. And then 1 Allied. You love to see it. I've got a couple of options here for Germany. I could do strategic redeployment, or I could do more replenishment points. German losses have not been insignificant this turn. And I almost think RP would be a better play. So I'm going to go ahead and use Kemal as RPs. Remember, you just can't do them in consecutive turns. But you can still do it more than once. And that's going to be, what was it? 2 German, 1 Austrian, 1 Turk. There we go. And last but not least, by a long shot, we have the final Allied turn, and we're going to go ahead and play Sinai Pipeline. That basically means we can attack this without suffering Severe attrition. Gives us more flexibility. Where's the Sinai pipeline token? Sinai pipeline, where did you go? You're right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock down this particular space, because that's never going to go away. And then you get removed from the game. And I can also play Allenby if that comes up later on. Alright, Attrition Phase. Sorry, Russia. Armies deleted from the game. Is an out-of-supply core deleted, or is it just sent back to the... Okay, cores just go to the eliminated box. They're not removed from the game, only armies are. My gosh, this is getting incredibly crowded. Oh dear. No German units are out of supply. No one else is out of supply, so that's all fine. Italy didn't make an attack, so that's going to be a VP for the Central Powers. Sieges. We do have one siege over here in Nancy. You need to get 3 or higher. They got a 1, so the siege continues there. Russia is sieging here in Pershmisl. They need to get a 4 or higher. They did. Fort is destroyed. Very nice. All that is done now. Nobody has won the game yet. Germans still aren't at full power yet. So the last thing we do is we do replacements. Allies come first. Alright. Step 1, Britain. They're going to spend 1 point to restore this army. That's one of their points. And then how many points does it take to put a full-strength core on the map? Oh, they're just going to use the rest of it. And they're going to put it with any other friendly unit. Let's go ahead and put it here. And the British have no other sources they can use, can they? Oh, nope. Tell a lie. That's now full strength. Now they've used all their points. France gets 3, and oh my gosh, do they need them. They need them very badly. 1, 2, and then recreate the French army for their 3rd point. I could also restore 2 core, but French core kind of suck no matter what. Or I could just restore 2nd army. Yeah, let's just restore all the French armies, and then we can always use a future turn. Russia gets 4. 1, 2. And then do I just want to load up the box with Russian core and then use strategic deployment? No, if I want to put a full strength. Ooh, or do we have an eliminated army? Afraid not, my friends. I do not. I only have cores left. So then it's basically... Yeah, I'd rather put 2 full-strength cores and 2 reduced-strength cores. So we're going to do that. I'm going to put 1 here. I'm going to put 1 in Cluj. And then 1, 2. And they will come into the game at reduced strength. But I can live with that. Alright. That is all the Russian points spent. I have 2 Italian points to spend. That's going to be easy. 1, 2. And then I have 1 allied point to spend. Let's bring back the Belgian First Army. And it would have to be in London. There we go. Very productive turn. Now it is the Central Powers' turn to spend their RPs. Turkey doesn't matter. They don't have any injured units. Austria gets 3. So we're going to go 1, 2. And do I have an Austrian army to recreate? I sure don't. I do. So we're going to do 3, and we're going to put in Budapest. That is Austria's points spent. Germany now has 6. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I guess 6. Are there 2 core I can flip? 1 and 2. Perfect. So this is a big turn for reinforcements for both sides. We then draw up to our full cards. That's 6 for the Allies. It's going to be 7 for Germany, so we're going to take these 2. Wait, what? How did a Total War card get in there? No, you do not belong in there. You go there. All right. Okay. We're going to advance the turn marker. A reminder, at the end of this turn, they're going to take some damage there. And I feel like this episode has gone quite a while, so I think I'm going to go and end it here. Are we going to finish the war next turn? Probably. Next episode? Probably not. It's probably going to take us another 2 videos or so. But I'm hoping that you guys are finding it interesting and useful to have a proper, full playthrough of Paths of Glory so that you can decide if you want to play the game for yourself or not. But until next time, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.